CDL Practice Test, Texas, General Knowledge, Part 5. Question number 106. If you are convicted of knowingly using a CMV to transport illegal drugs, A. You will be disqualified for life if it was your second offense. B. You will be disqualified for life if it was your first offense. C. You will be disqualified for at least 1 year if it was your first offense. D. Your CDL will be suspended until you have served your sentence. The correct answer is here, B. You will be disqualified for life if it was your first offense. Explanation. Under Texas law, the distribution of illegal drugs is a felony. If you are convicted of knowingly using a commercial motor vehicle, CMV, to distribute illegal drugs, you will be disqualified from commercial driving for life. This is in addition to the legal penalties, a fine and a jail sentence, that you will face for the felony. Texas Transp 522.081. Question number 107. You should schedule your driving, A. between the hours of 4 AM and 6 PM, B. for the hours you are normally awake, C. between the hours of 10 AM and midnight. The correct answer is here, B. for the hours you are normally awake. Explanation. To help prevent drowsiness while driving, schedule your trips for the hours during which you are normally awake, not the middle of the night. Get plenty of sleep, 8-9 hours, before each trip. Question number 108. In which of the following two situations should you downshift? A. Starting down a hill and finishing a curve. B. Starting up a hill and entering a curve. C. Starting up a hill and finishing a curve. D. Starting down a hill and entering a curve. The correct answer is here, D. Starting down a hill and entering a curve. Explanation. Downshifting before starting down a hill lets you take advantage of engine braking. You should downshift to the gear required, which is usually lower than the gear required to climb the hill. Downshifting before a curve improves stability and helps you get the power you will need to accelerate out of the turn. Question number 109. If your rear wheels lock, A. you will stop sooner. B. you may lose steering control. C. you may skid, jackknife, or spin. D. none of the above will happen. The correct answer is here, C. you may skid, jackknife, or spin. Explanation. If you brake hard on a slippery surface, braking force may exceed the tire's grip of the road, causing the wheels to lock. If your front wheels lock, you will lose steering control. If your other wheels lock up, you may skid, jackknife, or even spin the vehicle. An anti-lock braking system, ABS, keeps the wheels from locking so you can maintain control. ABS has been required on all vehicles built since the 1st of March, 1999. Question number 110. The amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on A. the amount the liquid will expand in transit. B. the legal weight limits. C. both two other answers are correct. The correct answer is here, C. both two other answers are correct. Explanation. How much liquid you can load into a tank depends on the following. Open bracket. 1. Heat makes liquid expand. so you must allow enough room at the top of the tank for outage. Open bracket. 2. A dense liquid may weigh so much that loading too much liquid into the tank may cause your vehicle to exceed state weight limits. Question number 111. Which of these statements is true about warning other drivers of a stopped vehicle? A. Move the rear reflective triangle back if the driver's vision is obscured to within 500 feet. B. Keep the vehicle's taillights on to warn other drivers. C. Put out your emergency warning devices within 5 minutes. The correct answer is here. A. Move the rear reflective triangle back if the driver's vision is obscured to within 500 feet. Explanation. Other drivers should be able to see your stopped vehicle or its warning devices from at least 500 feet away in either direction. If your vehicle is obscured by a hill or curve, set out a warning device up to 500 feet behind your vehicle. Question number 112. How often should you check your mirrors? A. Every 1/4 mile. B. When turning or changing lanes. C. Every 8 to 10 seconds. The correct answer is here. C. Every 8 to 10 seconds. Explanation. You should check your mirrors every 8 to 10 seconds to know what is going on around your vehicle at all times. Question number 113. Which of these statements about vehicle fires is true? A. If your engine is on fire, open the hood as soon as you can. B. If the cargo or box trailer catches fire, open the doors as soon as you can. C. A burning tire should be cooled with water. The correct answer is here. C. A burning tire should be cooled with water. Explanation. If the cargo is on fire, opening the trailer's doors will let more oxygen into the trailer and feed the fire. If a tire is on fire, it should be cooled, preferably with a lot of water. Question number 114. For your safety, when setting out reflective triangles, you should A. Carry the triangles at your side. B. Keep them out of sight while you walk to the spots where you'll set them out. C. Hold the triangles between yourself and oncoming traffic. The correct answer is here. C. Hold the triangles between yourself and oncoming traffic. Explanation. As you carry the reflective triangles to place them around your vehicle, hold them between yourself and traffic to help you stay visible to other drivers. Question number 115. Hydroplaning. A. Is more likely when the tire pressure is low. B. Only occurs at speeds above 50 miles per hour. C. Cannot occur while driving through a puddle. The correct answer is here. A. Is more likely when the tire pressure is low. Explanation. Hydroplaning is more likely if traction is low. This can happen if the tire treads are worn or the tire pressures are low, because there is less pressure pushing down on the road to supply traction. Question number 116. How does the height of the vehicle's center of gravity affect safe handling? A. Trucks with a high center of gravity can roll over at the posted speed limit for a curve. B. Trucks with a high center of gravity can stop faster. C. Trucks with a high center of gravity can get stuck on railroad tracks. The correct answers here. A. Trucks with a high center of gravity can roll over at the posted speed limit for a curve. Explanation. Trucks with a high center of gravity are much more likely to roll over on a curve, even if they are not exceeding the posted or recommended speed limit. When driving such a vehicle on a curve, slow down well below the posted speed limit. Question number 117. In order to secure your vehicle during inspection, you should shut off the engine and take the key with you. This is so that A. You don't lose it. B. In case it's needed during inspection. C. To prove you have it. D. No one moves the vehicle. The correct answer here. D. No one moves the vehicle. Explanation. When you inspect your vehicle, you should put the key in your pocket. That way, no one can move the vehicle while you're underneath or behind it, which could cause you great bodily harm. Question number 118. How regularly should you check your cargo? A. After every break. B. After every 4 hours or 200 miles, and after every break. C. After every 2 hours of driving. D. After every 3 hours or 150 miles you drive and after every break. The correct answer here. D. After every 3 hours or 150 miles you drive and after every break. Explanation. To maintain the safety of yourself and other drivers, you should check your cargo every 3 hours or 150 miles. Whichever is less, you should also check your cargo after every break you take. Question number 119. If you have been drinking alcohol before you drive, you should A. Wait for it to wear off. B. Take a cold shower. C. Drink coffee. The correct answer here. A. Wait for it to wear off. Explanation. Your body breaks down alcohol at a predictable rate. Typically, this is 1 standard drink per hour, where 1 standard drink equals 1.5 ounces of hard liquor, 5 ounces of wine, or 12 ounces of beer. Neither coffee nor fresh air nor a cold shower can increase that rate. You need to wait until the alcohol has been broken down. Question number 120. If you need to leave the road in a traffic emergency, you should A. Tap repeatedly on the brakes. B. Try to get all the wheels off the pavement. C. Avoid braking until your speed has decreased to about 20 miles per hour. The correct answer here. C. Avoid braking until your speed has decreased to about 20 miles per hour. Explanation. If you've moved onto a shoulder that may have a loose surface, let your vehicle slow down to about 20 miles per hour before you brake. Braking at a higher speed on a loose surface can cause a skid. Question number 121. Which of these statements about managing space to the sides is true? A. Always keep your vehicle to the right side of your lane. B. Strong winds make it easy to stay in your lane. C. You should avoid traveling next to others when possible. The correct answer is here. C. You should avoid traveling next to others when possible. Explanation. Whenever another vehicle is traveling right next to yours, there's always a chance that the vehicle might try to move into your lane and accidentally hit your vehicle. Also, the vehicle is blocking you from changing lanes. It's safer to find an open spot where there are no vehicles on either side of you. Of course, that may not be possible in heavy, congested traffic. Question number 122. Why should you use a helper when you are backing? A. Because it's the law. B. To make sure you don't damage your truck. C. To check your style of driving. D. Because every truck has blind spots. The correct answer is here, D. Because every truck has blind spots. Explanation. You should use a helper when you are backing because you will be dealing with blind spots that you cannot see. Before you start, the two of you should agree on a set of hand signals for go and, most importantly, stop. Question number 123. The tendency for long commercial vehicles to swing wide on turns is called A. Off-tracking. B. Fishtailing. C. Hydroplaning. The correct answer is here, A. Off-tracking. Explanation. When any vehicle turns, its rear wheels will follow a shorter path than its front wheels. This is called off-tracking or cheating. The longer the vehicle, the greater the difference. In a combination vehicle, the trailer's wheels will off-track more than the tractor's rear wheels. In a double or triple combination vehicle, the wheels of the last trailer will off-track the most. Question number 124. Can a truck still be driven if a safety issue is found during inspection? A. Yes, as long as you sign a release form. B. Possibly. It depends on the importance of the broken item and the effect it would have on driving the vehicle. C. Possibly, if the item in question has a backup system. D. No, never. The correct answer is here, D. No, never. Explanation. No, it is both federal and state law that all parts of a vehicle are to be in working order before being driven. Question number 125. Which of the following will not correct a drive wheel braking skid? A. Counter steering. B. Turning quickly. C. Stopping braking. D. Sharply braking. The correct answer is here, D. Sharply braking. Explanation. When in a drive wheel braking skid, stopping braking, counter steering, and quickly turning will all correct your driving. However, sharply braking will not. Question number 126. While driving a vehicle with dual tires, you hear a noise that sounds like a tire blowout. However, your vehicle's handling seems unaffected. What should you do? A. Look in your mirrors to try to spot trouble. B. Keep driving as usual. C. Check your tires at the next stop. D. Stop and check your tires now. The correct answer is here, D. Stop and check your tires now. Explanation. If a dual tire blows out, handling may not be affected at first. However, the other tire will then have to carry the entire load, which may damage it too. If you hear what sounds like a blowout on a vehicle with dual tires, Stop and check the tires. Question number 127. Is the action of turning the wheel back in the other direction once you've cleared a hazard or traffic emergency? A. Countering. B. Counterturning. C. Oversteering. D. Countersteering. The correct answer is here, D. Countersteering. Explanation. When you countersteer, you are redirecting the vehicle back to the opposite direction you steered while trying to avoid a hazard or whatever else was in your path. This is part of the single driving action of steering and countersteering. Question number 128. Can you use over-the-counter medication when operating a CMV? A. Yes, but only take half a dose. B. Yes, but only during daylight hours. C. As long as the dispatcher says it is okay. D. It should not be used because it can make you sleepy. The correct answer is here, D. It should not be used because it can make you sleepy. Explanation. Cold medicines and other over-the-counter medication may make the driver drowsy or otherwise affect safe driving ability. However, possession and use of a drug given to a driver by a doctor is permitted if the doctor informs the driver that it will not affect safe driving ability. Question number 129. Under federal regulations, when are you allowed to hold a cell phone while driving a CMV? A. While you talk but not to send text messages. B. If you keep one hand on the steering wheel. C. To dial a telephone number by pressing a single button. D. To dial a telephone number. The correct answer is here, C. To dial a telephone number by pressing a single button. Explanation. Under federal regulations, you are not allowed to hold a cell phone to text, talk, or press more than one button to dial a telephone number. States and localities are allowed to impose rules that go beyond federal regulations. In Texas, for example, school bus drivers may not even use a hands-free device if there are children in the school bus. Question number 130. You come upon an accident and somebody is severely injured. Which of the following should you not do? A. Stay out of the way if authorized personnel are already helping. B. Keep the injured individual warm. C. Apply direct pressure to wound. D. Try to move them out of the vehicle. The correct answer is here, D. Try to move them out of the vehicle. Explanation. If somebody is severely injured in the aftermath of an accident, you should never move them unless absolutely necessary. If authorized personnel are already on the scene, it is best to stay out of the way unless you are asked to help. Question number 131. The formula for stopping distance with air brakes is A. Reaction distance and effective braking distance. B. Perception distance and effective braking distance. C. Perception distance, reaction distance, brake lag distance, and effective braking distance. The correct answer is here, C. Perception distance, reaction distance, brake lag distance, and effective braking distance. Explanation. Perception distance and reaction distance and brake lag distance and braking distance equals total stopping distance. Question number 132. Which of these is a good rule to follow when using a fire extinguisher? A. Aim at the base of the fire. B. Keep as close to the fire as possible. C. Stay downwind of the fire. The correct answer here. A. Aim at the base of the fire. Explanation. In a fire, your first priority is your safety and that of others. To use a fire extinguisher to put out a fire, stand upwind from the fire at a safe distance. Let the wind carry the extinguisher from you to the fire. Aim the extinguisher at the source or base of the fire, not up in the flames. Persist until the burning material has cooled to the point that the fire cannot restart.